The man widely believed to be behind the claim that Barack Obama was born a Muslim doesn't believe it himself anymore. Internet blogger Andy Martin says he came to that conclusion on a recent trip to Honolulu, where he crisscrossed Obama's hometown to investigate the Democratic nominee's background.
His father was Frank Marshall Davis.
Without offering any proof, Martin says unnamed sources tell him Obama's real father is civil rights figure Frank Marshall Davis.
His father, Obama first presents his father as a great hero, and the truth was his father was a polygamist and a alcoholic. He had abandoned the family in Africa when he met Obama's mother in Hawaii. He married Obama's mother without disclosing he had not divorced this African. And by the way, in fairness, you don't...
Do you know that 20, 30, 40 years ago, people had no shame? Do you know that 20, 30, 40 years ago, people had no shame or self-consciousness about smoking in public? Unless you were a woman. Now that was frowned upon. Men could smoke, and women were not supposed to smoke. They were not supposed to smoke. Times change. That means you can't always count on public opinion or conventional wisdom as a guide, as a perfect guide. You can count on it to some degree, of course. If you see everybody wearing raincoats and carrying umbrellas, it might mean something. I recall seeing an advertisement. an advertisement on TV, a commercial, wherein an actor, a known actor, a recognizable actor, said these words. He said, "I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV." And then he proceeded to sell something. He could have said, "I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV, and I believe that the most healthy breakfast food you can give to your children is Cocoa Puffs. And besides that, they come with glow-in-the-dark stickers that your children can stick on the seat of their pants." Example number 2. Suppose you found an unusual rock in your yard in a hole. It looked like it was an impact crater with this rock in the center of it. And eventually word spread, and a geologist came and examined the rock and said, "Yep, it's a meteor. It's a meteorite. That's a rock that fell from the sky." And you learned of his credentials. He was from the big university. He had studied geology for 20 years. If he went on to explain his theory about how Dick Chaney caused rocks to fall from the sky, his credentials as a geologist would not cover that particular conspiracy theory, which I just now made up. Suppose you read a news article and it said, "Emergency room doctors say excessive force was used by police officers." Wait. The doctors only examined a man who was injured. They can only describe the nature and extent of his injuries. If his arm is hanging off, if his shirt is torn and his face is covered with blood, they can describe that in their report. They have no idea with any certainty how those injuries occurred. The emergency room doctors cannot say excessive force was used. The emergency room doctors can only describe the condition of the patient that they examined. They can only speculate about the cause of those injuries. Now, it is likely that excessive force was used, but it is also possible that this miscreant is a liar, a very convincing liar, very good at tricking people. The cops might be innocent. The doctors are not in a position to judge that. I mention all these things to show you the trick, how tricky it is to know the truth about events. And I say these things because America is at war with enemies who do not have the means to attack us militarily. They will never land on our shores in an armada of ships and run up our beaches firing their guns and unload from their ships tanks and trucks and cannons and proceed to overrun our cities militarily. Most of our enemies don't have that capability. We do have enemies. They're not able to whoop us on the battlefield, on the conventional battlefield. They're able to whoop us through propaganda, misinformation, disinformation, psychological warfare. And that is what they use.